I'm joined by Chautauqua County Under Sheriff Richard Telford and Chautauqua Institution President Michael Hill. I apologize for the delay, but we have been working to identify the suspect who was involved in the attack at the Chautauqua Institution earlier today. The suspect has been identified as Haiti Matar, age 24, from Fairview, New Jersey. Earlier today at approximately 10:47 a.m., guest speaker Solomon Rushdie, age 75, and Ralph Henry Reese, age 73, had just arrived on stage at the institution. Shortly thereafter, the suspect jumped onto the stage and attacked Mr. Rushdie, stabbing him at least once in the neck and at least once in the abdomen. Several members of the staff at the institution and audience members rushed the suspect and took him to the ground, and shortly thereafter a trooper who was at the institution took the suspect into custody with the assistance of a Chautauqua County Sheriff's deputy. Mr. Rushdie was provided medical treatment by a doctor who was in the audience until EMS arrived on scene. Mr. Rushdie was airlifted to a local trauma center and is still currently undergoing surgery. Mr. Reese was transported via ambulance to a local hospital and was treated for a facial injury and subsequently released. The state police are being assisted by the Chautauqua County Sheriff's Office and the FBI in this investigation. We are also working with Chautauqua County DA Jason Schmidt, who will determine appropriate charges as the investigation continues and once we receive further information regarding the condition of Mr. Rushdie. At this time, I would like to have President Hill come to the podium for a few words.
Thank you. Chautauqua is a community of people of all faiths and none, and our collective family is holding Mr. Rushdie and Mr. Reese, as well as their family, close in prayer at this hour. I want to thank the New York State Police and all the other law enforcement personnel who were at Chautauqua today and responded within seconds. We're very grateful for their service always. What we experienced at Chautauqua today is an incident unlike anything in our nearly 150-year history. We were founded to bring people together in community to learn, and in doing so, to create solutions through action, to develop empathy, and to take on intractable problems. Today, now, we're called to take on fear and the worst of all human traits, hate. Our job right now, though, is to continue to support police and others, to be a resource for Mr. Rushdie and Mr. Reese's family, and to begin to imagine a pathway to healing. But be assured, we will return to our podiums and our pulpits at Chautauqua. We'll continue to convene the critical conversations that can help build empathy, obviously, which is now more important than ever. Thank you.
We'll take a few questions. Obviously, this is very early in the investigation, and there's not a whole lot of information I'm going to be able to provide.
Can you talk about the price tag on Mr. Rushdie's head, the supposed fatwa, and if you have any idea if this is connected to that?
I don't have any idea at this point. Like I said, it's very early. We don't have any indication of a motive at this time, but we are working with the FBI, the Sheriff's Office, and we will determine what the cause of this was or what the motive for this attack was.
That's something you would obviously investigate into, though, because of the high-profile nature of that?
Yes, there's members of the FBI here at SP Jamestown and out in the community helping us with the investigation at this point.
Were the police officers on duty, or were they there as vacation?
Excuse me?
The police officers who responded?
No, they were there. We had met earlier in the year with the institution, and there were some high-profile events that they requested that a law enforcement presence be there, and luckily we were.
With the FBI being here, would we expect federal charges from this as well as state charges?
It's a possibility. We'll have to discuss that as the investigation goes along. We are working with the DA's office. We are in the process of obtaining search warrants for various items. There was a backpack located at the scene. There was also electronic devices. So we're working with the DA's office to obtain search warrants and further the investigation.
Do we know if he was working alone or was there anybody else?
At this point, we're assuming he was alone, but we can't. We're looking to make sure that was the case.
Can you please spell his first and last name and also tell us, was he there with a day pass or did he reside there maybe for the past week or so?
His first name is Hadi, H-A-D-I. Last name is Matar, M-A-T-A-R. He's age 24. Can you answer if he was there on a day pass or?
He had a pass to access the grounds just the way any other patron would have.
And will you be adding more security at the institution? I understand that there are no metal detectors for patrons. There was a state trooper on scene. Is there going to be more security?
Yeah, it's a really important question. We assess for every event what we think the appropriate security level is, and this one was certainly one that we thought was important, which is why we had state trooper and sheriff presence there. We will assess for each of the events at the institution what we think the appropriate level of security is, and that's an ongoing process that we work in concert with local law enforcement on.
Was this something that was contemplated before and that you didn't take action on? I mean, something that you maybe thought of beefing up security but didn't? Because it seemed pretty light, according to what people were telling us.
Yeah, we have no indication that there were any previous threats. This is just something that we do for mass gatherings throughout the state. It's one of our primary missions to have a law enforcement presence at mass gatherings, and we were requested to be there by the institution.
Does this New Jersey resident have a criminal background?
I don't know yet.
What's his nationality?
Don't know yet.
Did Mr. Rushdie have his own security team come in, bodyguards, anything like that around him?
No.
When
Why
is
was
the
he
arraignment?
found at Erie Hospital and not a Buffalo Hospital?
Closest trauma center.
When's the arraignment?
We're not even sure what the charges are yet. We're working with the DA's office. They'll determine what the charges are once we get a little further in the investigation and determine the condition of Mr. Rushdie. I'm sure it will be at some point later today or tonight.
How would you term Mr. Rushdie's status in the hospital right now? Would it be life-threatening? Is it a life-threatening injury or?
We're trying to gain that information. We're working with the Pennsylvania State Police and the Erie City Police down in Pennsylvania, and we do have state police members at the hospital. So we're trying to get an update, and it's something that we are watching closely.
You are able to hold
Now,
him?
question Mr. Hill.
This is considered a violent crime. You are able to hold him?
Absolutely.
I wanted to know what will now go forward with the rest of the lecture series and speakers plan.
Well, as you might imagine, we've spent much of today just helping our colleagues and Mr. Ruster and Mr. Reese's family. We've also been meeting on getting back into our pulpits soon. We'll be putting that information on the website once we've made the decision, but it is our intention to continue with the season.
What do you say to people who are fearful now to come to the institution?
I would say that we take our security measures very, very seriously. This has been a top priority for us for the past 5 years, and I'm grateful to our colleagues that are behind me and others, and we'll continue to look at providing the maximum security that we can. And Chautauqua has, as I said at the top, this has never happened in our entire history. Chautauqua has always been an extremely safe place, and we will continue to be working to keep that tradition going.
Should the state deputize the officers of the police department of your institution and grant them peace officer status? That was something that was discussed. Should they be given that in the police department institution?
We continue to work with our local sheriff's office as well as state police on what the best security arrangement is. We are proud of the security and police personnel we do have at Chautauqua, and as was stated at the top, they were also present today, and in addition to our staff, really helped get this under control very, very quickly. So all of those things will be a part of the review as we continue to figure out the best path forward around security at Chautauqua.
Can you speak more to the backpack found on
People going
scene?
in and out. Just permanent residents only to the Chautauqua institution?
No, Chautauqua is open to anyone who wants to purchase a gate pass to come into our programs. So yes, there are permanent residents of the institution, but there are also many more people who purchase passes simply to come in for program.
Can you speak to the importance?
Lockdown right now, though, and at the gates, the security at the gates right now after this incident today.
The gates are personed and passes are checked before anyone can come in, which is our protocol.
Is it still under lockdown?
No, the gates are open for long-term pass holders. So.
Can you speak to the importance of the doctor attending to Mr. Rushdie as he was injured, and how valuable and how important that's the speed of that program?
Yeah. Well, there is video of this, and we will at some point it'll be up to the district attorney's office to release it, but you can tell by the video that the doctor immediately began first aid to Mr. Rushdie, and then local EMS was there very quickly and transported him to the trauma center.
So like just one neck wound and then an abdomen wound?
At least.
Can you speak to the backpack that was found? You said you're trying to obtain a warrant. Can you not search the backpack until?
The backpack was cleared by Chautauqua County Sheriff Office, a K-9, and then the bomb squad from the Sheriff's Office. And now we are, it's been rendered safe, and now we are waiting for a search warrant so that we can look to see what's in there.
Can you speak to Mr. Reese, what his role was in anything and how he's doing?
He was he was one of the guest speakers with Mr. Rushdie. He suffered some injuries to his face, and he was treated and released from the hospital.
Did he also go to Erie, or did he go to Buffalo?
I believe he also went to Erie.
Does this make you second guess for the institution? Does this make you second guess who you have there? You said you needed some extra security at certain events, this being one of them, and obviously it was needed. Does this make you second guess who you bring in?
No, it doesn't. Chautauqua's mission is to try to build bridges across difference, and we were extremely excited to have Mr. Rushdie with us. We continue to bring the people that are talking about the most important issues in the country, and our whole purpose is to help people bridge what has been too divisive of a world. Mr. Rushdie, this has been part of his whole life, is to bring up ideas and thoughts. He's known as one of the most significant champions for freedom of speech, and I think the worst thing Chautauqua could do is to back away from its mission in light of this tragedy, and I don't think Mr. Rushdie would want that either.
Have any of the
One more question.
Have any of the upcoming morning lectures canceled?
Not currently.
And I apologize if you said this already. His condition, do we know how he's looking in the hospital right now?
No, he's still in surgery, and we're trying to determine that. So thank you. We will update, we will put out press releases through our PIO as more information becomes available. Thank you.
Thank you. If anyone didn't get any sheets, I have them up here with information, with all their names, correct spellings.
I know. Do you feel like a teacher?
Yes, it is. All right, we got, there's a couple more.
I can just take a photo of someone
Can the AP get one? Yeah, take a photo of it. Where's the good sergeant? He had a couple too. Hey Sarge, you got a couple more of those?
The main guy speaking is
This guy and this guy. Yeah, I think this guy's.
yeah, all right, thank you.
What's that? All right, who didn't get one? You get one?
Thank you.
I'm gonna go in right now and get one.
Oh, no, I got one.
Want to bring in Thank you very much. Hey, what's the best
Are we going, Katie?
What's the best after
I probably won't answer questions. It'll be on the press release because it's going to be slow. It's going to be slow. I wouldn't anticipate, other than what the information we have here,
it's going to be a long time. I mean, it's, yes, and it's going to be hours before they do charges. I mean, so we're talking into tomorrow. There was 1,000+ people at the event. They got to depose all of them. I mean, it's going to be a long time.
Okay. So he'll be held here
If you'd like to
until
join us for a
formal
live
charges.
shot
Fine.
now.
No, you guys are good. If you want to stay and hang out,
Okay.
live shot, do whatever you want to do. That's fine. Just